All right. So here we are, looking at a blank screen. There we go. Looking at last week's or last time's. Was that last week?
Last month.
Last month. Thank you. Yeah. Sheesh. Notes from the Google Calendar, and then just so you know, I did put a link to the YouTube right there as well, so you got it. And okay, cool. Right, so last time we looked at Google Calendar, and we talked about just the basic stuff, which I think is always nice just to be like, oh yeah, it works like any calendar we've used, even on our phones. And then when you're on a computer, it's pretty nice because it does give you those choices. So under B, you can use the drop down to change different displays. On my computer, I tend to like the whole month view. I don't know about you guys. Do you just mostly use the calendar on your phone, or?
I do.
I do.
Well, I have multiple calendars.
Of course you do. Yeah.
I don't do enough that I need a calendar. There you go.
All right, fair enough. Fair
Leave it
enough.
like
I
that.
have a paper one, a dry erase one, and on my phone.
They call me up and they say, "Show up here for golf," and I do. That's it.
That's the
my
extended
week.
things. All right, very nice. So yeah, we looked at the basics of the calendar and then the menu options. Like I said, you've got the video, so if you do want to go back and hear Charlie Brown, then you can. And we did talk about how for a single event, it's probably easiest just to use it like you would you're on your phone. The duplicating is where it comes in handy for being able to right click and then choose that duplicate, so that if you had all the details already squared away and you're like, hey, I'm going to have one of these happen in 3 weeks and I don't want to have to type in the where and all the other stuff in there, you can just duplicate it, change the date, and you're good to go. So I like that one for the beginners. Have, I think, twice a month that they do pickleball here. So rather than going through all that, I just will duplicate it and change the date. Then you're also able to share calendars with other people. And of course, if you were going to make a brand new one, you'd have to be on a Gmail account to start a new calendar this way. And then others can likewise also let you subscribe to theirs, which I do find handy. So like when I've made one for pickleball, I subscribe to that one on my JC account too, so that my personal stuff and then the pickleball are showing up in one spot for me. So I don't have to go to each separate calendar. They all show up as different colors on my one calendar then. So, but that way I keep it separate so I don't have to go, shoot, what's happening, Ryan? And then the pickleball people only see the pickleball one. Obviously, they're not seeing the rest of my calendar stuff. And I think we actually had time to do the CSV, where we went into like a Google sheet and I showed the behind the scenes there, and then how you can import it in. So again, if you have one thing with lots of details, then you can just have the calendar import it, and then poof, they all pop up. Do you guys have any questions or feedback on calendar stuff? Excellent. Awesome. All right, let me switch over to the other screen. Bloop. All right, so then today we're going to be taking a look at the My Maps. And I did want to point out just straight away, because I think it's really easy to just assume, oh, I know Google Maps. I've been there lots of times. And Mark and I, we looked at the one where to get the driving directions and make sure the traffic was showing up and all that kind of stuff. This is really different than that. The My Maps feature that we're going to be taking a look at is still by Google, but it lets you then create and kind of tailor a map with your own details on it, which you can then share with anybody you'd like. Some people as I was preparing for this week, some people use it when they're going on a trip, and I thought that was kind of clever. And we'll get into the whole idea of layers and other stuff for the maps, but they actually had it so that you can actually put the things so they're numbered, and then as you add and delete it keeps the numbering consistent, just like bullets.
Like waypoints?
Well, more so like, let's say you were doing a walking tour and you were like, hey, we're going to be downtown in Dublin, and here are 6 places you might want to go visit, and then you can refer to them. And then if you shared that map with everybody in your walking tour, they'd all have it. And you'd be like, hey, we're heading to number 2 now. So everybody could look and be like, oh, yep, there's number 2. Bloop. And whatever other details you put in there, you can see it too. So yeah, that's kind of nice. And it does let you add some text, including links inside your description, and then you can also put pictures in. So another person's that I was looking at that was doing some creative stuff with My Maps, you put like as you would be driving up to whatever the place was, here's the picture so that you would recognize it. So if you were driving along, you'd be like, oh, that's where I'm going. So that's kind of nice too. Like a lot of the other things, if you're creating a Google My Map, you do need to be on a Gmail account, and you also need to be on a PC. Apparently, they did let people. There used to be both an Android and an iPhone app that let you do the creation of My Maps, but when I started looking into those have both been deprecated. So they're like, nope,
Really?
you can still create them on you always have been able to create them on your PC or Mac, and you can still use them anywhere. You just can't create them on the phones anymore. So I'm thinking it was probably just too much work for them to support maybe both platforms, and they're like, you know what? Most people aren't going to create on their phone anyway. If they're going to make a whole map for a trip or something, they probably have access to another device. Yeah. So I did. This is actually a link just so that, and if you Google My Maps, the first link will be Google My Maps. The first time you go there, since you haven't created any, it'll be kind of empty looking, but it'll give you a create button to start making your own map. And then we will take a look at how you can also share maps with somebody else to let them be an editor, but they're still not the owner. So you can you still get some options to control what people see. Okay, so yeah, just a little background as far as, remember, it's not the same as just regular Google Maps. You can open up the My Map to get directions, so it'll kind of transition somebody into the regular Maps feature once they've started from your My Map. All right, and then so I don't know if you guys can see from a distance, but can you see this a difference between these two?
Yeah. I mean, one's green and one's pink, if that's what you're talking about.
And I purposely did that so that the one we're editing later on today should be the pink one. So if I'm ever on the green one and you see me making changes, say, go back to the pink one, because the pink one is kind of like a copy of the real pickleball map. I didn't want to mess with the pickleball map for real, just because other people are using that one too. So I do have
And
two.
See, one dot is missing on the pink one.
Good eye, man.
Look at that.
I was
really good at those. One of the.
Yeah. What's the difference?
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the difference between the two pictures?
I see two missing also.
There. 'Cause I only see one.
Yeah. There's a.
One up there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. One of the.
Look at you guys.
Yeah.
Well,
you got better eyes than I did.
Bravo.
'Cause that looks like one dot to me.
On the top.
Yeah.
Oh, over here.
'Cause they're so
Yeah,
close
over there it
together.
looked like one dot.
I see. Yep. Well, here I'll zoom a little bit, maybe. Anyway, yeah. So we'll take a look at both of these, but please, if we are making changes and you catch me on the green map, say, "Psst, hey, you're on the green map," and then we'll go over to this map. All right. So I'll just open this so you can see it.
You can play pickleball.
Yep, and I kind of was, it's really for our gang in this area, so I made it kind of centric on Jefferson Barns, like from this area where the other places around. I haven't been to all these places, but as people would tell me that they had been there and had firsthand experience, I'd be like, okay, then I'll add that anyway, because sometimes if somebody's like, well, I've heard that they have pickleball at such and such, I'm like, not put that on there until someone is actually
Somebody
I know for
tells you.
sure.
exactly, yeah, gone inside. And,
Confirmation.
yep.
Now, do you have something that distinguishes indoors from outdoors?
Indeed, I do, sir.
I knew it.
Look at you. So yes, if you notice, there's color
Both
coding.
blue and the green.
So over here, that layer that I just clicked off, that was the indoor places.
Okay, so all the indoors are gone.
Yep. And now, so again, since I've done this and I've created it and shared with people, they could do the same thing. So if it was let's say it was a rainy day, they might say, well, I don't care about the outdoor ones today. I only want to know where the indoor places are. Then even as a user, they can turn that off too, so they can just see one layer. So that's one advantage, and we'll see how to make the layers. It's really super easy. And then somebody, as another idea for layers, they did a day by day. Like day one, I'm going to put on one layer. Day 2, I'm going to have on a separate layer. And then again, anybody using it be like, hey, we're on day 3 of our trip, so if you want to pull up that map, it keeps all the other stuff out of the way, and you can just focus on the one. And I was like, that's a pretty smart idea too. So, yeah, so good eye though on the how did was their color coding was separate for indoor and outdoor for sure.
I get a star.
And then did you
And the
notice
green
there's
one is Jefferson Barns?
nope.
Nope.
They actually have indoor and outdoor.
Okay, that was my next guess. That would have been my next guess.
Woohoo! Yeah, so that's the Ford. If you've ever been down on Michigan Ave and you've seen that big complex over in Dearborn, I think
Yeah.
it's the theater as well.
Yeah.
But it's a massive area. One part of that is this building that has a pool and workout area and pickleball inside.
Indoor and out?
Okay, yeah. So, and then these are actually little icons I made for the pickleball. So I'll show you how to do access the icons, and they have hundreds, if not thousands, of pre-made icons you can use yourself, or you can just use a color-coded thing, like a little green dot or a blue dot. And that's also where you can go to say, like, let's say it was going to be 6 stops on our walking tour. That's where you can also choose to say, hey, have it numbered, and then it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's all part of the styles. Okay, so that's an actual real the live map.
I can't see the icons. Can you see
I can't.
Okay.
I don't know what that,
No, that didn't help.
Oh, that didn't. It made the map bigger, but not the
Not the dots.
not the dot. Let me see.
looks
Oh,
like a gumball.
I know a way to do it
It
though.
looks like a cloud with like black rain. That's what I see.
So another thing you can do is when you have a Google My Map, you can actually open up in Google Earth. And I believe when I tested this the other day, it keeps the. Oh well, shoot! I swear.
Why?
I swear. Yesterday when I did it, it kept.
Zoom right in.
Yeah, you can, but I swear it kept the. Oh, I guess these guys stay the same size.
How funny.
Can you see them a little better
Is it
I
than?
don't know what it is.
Yep,
Is it
it's
like
a.
a paddle and a ball.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's a pickleball paddle and a ball. Yep.
Looks like a cloud with, yeah, black
But I can
thunderbolt
see the
coming out of a
ball,
white
huh?
cloud.
Well, yeah. I guess if I mouse over, it gets slightly bigger. But yeah, there's a little loop thingy on the end of the paddle, and then there's the ball.
Okay. Yeah, I see it now.
All right.
I can kind of.
You can. I'll believe
my
that.
Imagination
All right.
will
And I probably,
allow me.
I think I started with somebody else's original paddle, and then I'm like, I'll just color code it to make it for the indoor, outdoor, and all that kind of stuff. But I thought that was kind of nice that they give that to you since it's all part of the Google family. You can just go straight away and say, hey.
Street view?
I think since you can do that in Google Maps, I think you can switch to all that stuff because yeah, it does let you open up as a map that way, and then also Google Earth. So yeah, I think so. Okay, so let me go back here, and I'm going to purposely go to the other one. So as we're making changes, we can. And I'm going to pull that one off. Oh, maybe. Come on, stay off. Nope,
This
nope.
is your editable one.
Yes, this is the one that if we mess up a little bit, it's okay. Because I haven't given anybody else the link to this one. All right, so there's that. And let me see if I can resize this a little smidge.
Hi, Nat.
Too late today.
Can you guys see these kind of out there?
I can.
I can. Yeah.
All right, sweet. Nice. All right. So what we're going to be looking at are the various things, the tools that My Maps gives us that may not be super obvious for regular mapping stuff. So we can add our own markers anytime we want to a calendar or to a map.
Just adjusting the temperature. It's blowing right now.
Gonna make it colder.
No.
It's freezing in here.
So we can, when we're on a map that we can edit, like this one, let me go back into edit mode, maybe. And there we go. We've got this one was shared with me, and then this one is the,
Editable.
yep. And this guy is the owner of that one. So, aha. All right. So we'll we'll supersize this guy. Oops. Hey, whoa, hey. A little bit. Arr. Trying to zoom in just a smidge, but it's a. Oh, I forget I have a mouse too. Duh. There we go. That's easier. All right. So, okay. So the first thing we can do is we can just say, hey, I want to add in a new spot, and this little tool up here, and I just so you know on our session document, I've got it so that I've got those kind of blowing up a little bit so you can see them. But I think probably on the video you'll be able to see it too. I'll try to make sure I zoom in on these little tools for the video. But the one that's active right there is marker. So I can, once I choose that, I can go anywhere onto the map then and add a new point onto the map. Yep. So I can then from there say new. Maybe. Sheesh. There we go. All right. New pickleball complex. All right. So that would be the name of the place. Down here, I can add a description to it. This is where I can also add in a link. Again, somebody that I thought did a clever thing for their trip stuff was they put in links inside of their map so that if there was something that was going to be useful for that location, they wouldn't have to look, oh, I'm on my trip, I have to go find this fast too. They just kind of put it right there on the map. So it was like, oh, it's already in here. Click.
So
And
if it was a restaurant, you could do a link to the menu to look at it before.
Exactly. Yep. And because it's really a text area, you could put multiple links in there. So if you're like, hey, here, and maybe it's a site and you wanted to have like, hey, these 3 sites talked about a lot of good details to see, maybe like Stonehenge, and you'd be like, hey, check out this one that has a lot of stuff. You're on the bus going out there or something, you could be, rather than digging into it yourself, you could be like, oh, they've already given us links. So we can add in details. So more details, even links, if you have them. And then this also allows you to add a picture in. So I did that because Curtis Woods is a new park that Westland opened last summer for pickleball. So I actually went out there and took pictures just so you guys could see like what that looks like. Yep, you can add a picture of it. And then again, if it were a travel thing, you might be thinking like, hey, let the person see what it's going to look like so that they know if they're driving themselves how to get there. Okay, and then notice this guy is just this little blue dot. And because I happened to be on indoor pickleball when I made it, it went to that layer. So that is something to, and just so you know, it's that easy to make a new layer. Just click on the new layer thingy and poof, you've got them. But whatever layer I had active, when I used that little push pin or the dropper, it's going to add on to that guy. Okay. If I wanted to change,
It's going to change it to the icon that's already up there. The little icons. All the rest of them are different.
right, exactly. So by
How
default,
do you make it look like the other ones?
perfect. Yep. Excellent. So 2 things. One is right now I have them on individual styles. That's what that says, even though it's kind of tiny. Sorry, that part doesn't zoom when we zoom in.
All right, you can tell me now.
But yeah, individual styles means each and every one of those I can have look different if I wanted to. I think when I first made this a couple of years ago, I didn't even realize that because it would have been easier just to say, hey, I don't want individual styles and do it one time, and then it would have used the same graphic for all of them. I went through and changed each of them, and then I was like, oh, that's what that thing's really useful for. So if you want them to be separate, you can do it. And because I've got it right now that way, that's why this guy didn't automatically default to being the same little icon. But this paint bucket over here, that's what that is how you go and edit the things. Yep. So if I wanted it just to be a different color, boom. If I want it to be one of their many, many icons, and they.
And there's your 3 icons.
Yep.
Wow.
And then I was not kidding you. There are hundreds of icons out there that they give you for free. So if you're like, let's make it an animal, then you can. Or you could use any of the icons I had. So let's see, this would be supposedly a new outdoor or indoor place. And voila.
So what if it was actually supposed to be outdoor?
Say again?
What if it was actually supposed to be an outdoor?
Oh.
Can you
would hit
move
the
it?
blue one.
Yep, you got it. Yep. Well, at least I thought we could. Let me see if on my screen it looks like I can. Yes, there we go.
Nice.
It just was being a little bugger as far as letting me grab it. And then I'd probably update the icon so it was like everybody else.
Cool.
But good question, yeah. Yep. Cool. All right, and let me see. So we did.
By the way, if it is a legal dispute over My Maps, the new one for Apple will be iMaps.
Of course.
Because they always go, everything with Google is My, everything with Apple is I.
Yep. Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because I think right now, I think Apple's version of Maps is called Apple Maps. So maybe they couldn't get iMaps.
Right.
That's interesting.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but their map isn't editable yet. But if they do something like this, where you got
True.
My Map, they can't call it Google, Apple Maps again, so they'll call it iMaps.
Right. Editable iMaps.
Editable iMaps.
And then just so that you guys kind of know, this is kind of a nice feature. I happen to use this because the base map, then to me this is a little overwhelming. There's too much for me to actually be using the map. But this is how I was able to go, oh, let's make one pink and we'll make the other one, I think it was kind of green looking.
Green.
So you can kind of choose what detail you have in there for the base map. And I thought that was kind of nice for, I don't think the green one shows the airport, if my memory serves. So to me, this is like the cleanest map you can get with the fewest distractions. But if you wanted to have some of the markers, like, hey, there's the airport. And honestly, Romulus, it's you see the airport right there. So for people, if it's the first time for them going out there, that might be handy. Like, oh, it's like if I'm seeing the airport, I'm really in the right spot. So that base map is, again, coming from Google, and then you might say, hey, which one's the most useful for my purposes?
And like I said, isn't there a way you can do a street map view? Where you could just actually show them the building, show what it looks like?
I think you can do that maybe in Google Earth as well. But Google Maps has that too, doesn't it? Where it has the street view.
I use it all the time.
We'll try going back to Google Maps later on, or Google Earth, and seeing if it gives us that street view. Because you're right, that's a thing.
Because if I'm going to a building, I want to see what it looks like. But if I'm going to somebody's house, I want to see what their house looks like too. So I'm looking for that particular house.
Right.
And of
Yep.
course, it'll be 3 years old and I'll drive right by it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, we had it recited.
Right.
Different color.
Well, and again, if you're making your own map, this is where it's handy then because you can actually put a picture in there. So that way, because the other thing I was going to show you guys is you can search for a place. So let's see if the Romulus has their own Romulus Athletic Center. So what I can do is if I use, this is basically a little Google search right here built in, and then once I find the right place, I can also say just add that to my map. And I get all these details will all be in there as well then. So if somebody was like, hey, I want to call the place and see if they're open and it's a holiday, then it's nice because it's all again in one spot. The link to their website is right there too. And then look at that, we view in Google Maps.
There it is.
And there it is.
There's a picture.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yep. Street view.
Yep.
It looks like a fountain.
Well, that's inside. That's not at street view.
Yep. That's their,
It's a street view.
that's their pool.
That's a pool.
Yeah.
Inside.
I don't see. Just trying to see if they have the street view thingy over there. I don't know if am I just not seeing it, or let's see, layers. terrain, traffic, more. Globe view? Oh, there's street view. But they don't have one though.
They don't have a street view.
Yep. So I think that's, again, where on the My Maps, you can then add your own picture. So again, if you were the organizer for something, it would be kind of handy because you're right. How many times if you're going to someplace new, you might like, is that the right one or no?
Yeah, you can look right at it.
Yep. Cool. Well, I'm glad you asked that because, yeah. So because not every place has gotten a street view drive-by, right? So,
Exactly.
okay, cool.
So if you add a picture to your map, where does it show? Icon change?
I will show you on the, let's see, go back out of this guy. I added it to the green guy, which was this one, I think, right? Yes. And I believe, is that Curtis Woods? There's the picture.
Oh, wow.
So it's hard to see here, and I wasn't sure because I was kind of messing around with it. So I was trying to make it useful for somebody. I don't know how useful that would be because this actually has the address as part of the picture. And of course, on my screen, when I was editing the picture, it was really big, but I'm like, that's kind of tiny. And what I was trying to do down here, just so you know, Mark, those are actually little footprints because when you park here, the courts are a ways back off the street. So for the first time when somebody's going there, they might not know it. And until this month, this wasn't paved. It was just kind of like pull off the side of Palmer and you're there. And so the biggest thing we could tell people was if you've gotten to the railroad tracks coming from this direction, you've gone too far. But it's like right next to the railroad tracks. So yeah, but you can add a picture in. So probably knowing how tiny this is now, I'm thinking on somebody's phone it's going to be pretty tiny too. I wouldn't worry about putting text in there because I don't think that's useful. But I was trying to make it big, thinking, well, they'll still be able to read it. But
You could put that in the details spot, right?
Yeah.
what's that?
You could like add the
You
details.
can do the zoom on your phone.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, that's true too.
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say the text that you want to put, you could put it in.
Oh, yeah, I gotcha. Yeah. Right. Like add it down to the details. Yes. Perfect. Yep. Yeah, that would be smarter. And I probably will because this is, there's no seating at this facility either. So if you go there, you need to bring your own chair. And so, we all learned these things the first time we went, but then we forget if somebody else new is coming along. So I think I'll just add it in there so that they're using the map, then they get the built-in freebie. I'm curious if there's a street view for that one. Let's see.
Oh, very good one.
Went to layers. Yeah, there's the park before the pickleball was added.
Oh.
Let's see. Street view. Did that make it? Street view?
Change.
Oh. I'm used to Street View being the whole screen being that way.
Right,
Yeah.
Well, when you click on it, it will. If you bring up the street view again, right there you go.
Yay!
And then you can zoom in. You can use the wheel to, yep.
Yep. All right. Sweet. Yep. And, oh, look, they've got they've done the drive-by since the courts were made.
Yeah.
Oh, but see, this was before it was paved.
Before it was
Oh,
paved,
that's all
yep.
paved now.
Yep. They just did it a couple weeks ago. I was there and they had the orange cones pretty well spaced so that you weren't supposed to go in there, but people were finding a way to go around them. And I was like, I think there are more cones here than the last time we were there. So I'm like, let's park on the street because there's a little street, well, just over here. So I'm like, let's park over here. And people are like, we can still go in there. I'm like, all right. I parked on the street. As we were leaving, a cop pulled over and was chatting to people who had pulled and parked there. So, but now it's all done. They've got it paved. They've got the line markers and the cones are gone. So I'm like, woohoo, bonus.
Where's that at, Palmer?
Just before the railroad tracks.
Good luck.
So between Newburgh and Wayne,
Oh, okay, yeah. I used to live there.
I guess closer. This is probably Newburgh's coming up pretty fast, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's Newburgh. You're headed towards Newburgh.
Yeah.
Palmer.
Yep.
Yep, Carlson's just on the other side.
Okay. All right. So, well, cool. That's nice. They've got a nice street view now of all that, and
You get the little pavilion.
I wonder if that's me out there playing. Yeah, they got a little pavilion here. Oh, you know what? And look at that like they've added. I see a bench there.
Now, there is a bench.
They don't have a bench over on our entrance side, but if you're
No.
if you're willing to walk a little ways, then you wouldn't have to have your own chair, I guess. Nice.
Aren't you playing pickleball to get exercise?
Somebody made the point about how all of these people at the gym, myself included, you're like, we're on these things, and they're like, but then people are going to fight for the closest spot to the door. And I'm like, after I read that post, I'm like, yeah, all right. I've stopped worrying about how close I was to the door, because I'm like, all right, a few extra steps. That's part of the plan, right? All right. So let's see. So we looked at dropping our own markers. That was the one that was right on the map where this little guy here is adding our own markers. We can search and add to map, which I showed you guys too, I think, right? Where if you use this box and you search it, then one of the features will be add to map, and then it plunks it in there for you too. All right, the base map we looked at, which was the one that did the color changing, so you could see like the green or the red, but also then the airport. Yep. And then, so depending again on your purposes, some of those other maps might be coming in handy. To me, it was like, I'm going to use the one that has the least distraction so that people can see the sights on it.
Yeah. But if you use the satellite one, that's kind of, like you said, that's a little too much.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, layers, they're nice and handy. So in the edit mode, all you have to do is come over here and say add layer, and it'll make these. These I've got 3 layers built in, and I've just named them outdoor pickleball, and indoor and outdoor. You can do all your changes to those guys with those 3 little dots over here. So rename it, get rid of it, open as a data table, which we will take a look at in a second. And
Don't do it because you're on the green one.
oh, thank you. Yep, good. And then remember, we can also then it's that easy to view or hide a layer. So again, if you're like, hey, I only want the outdoor ones today, then and as a user, you can do that too. So you don't have to. In fact, I think this is an example of the user mode. So if this is not the creator now, this account happened to be just the viewer, then I could turn off a layer and then not see that. And it should, if my memory serves. Yep. So once I've clicked on one, I can say view in Google Maps right from here. And then I can get my driving directions straight away too. Yeah. Oh, look at that. That's too funny. I've never seen that before, but JC Handyman. It's not me, but that's too funny. All right, so that's the layers. It's really easy to add a layer, name a layer, and then have it on or off, hidden or in view. Then the individual styles, we'd started looking at those. And so this is where you can choose to say, hey, I want to have one uniform style for all of them. So had I known that the first time, I could have done that icon one time and said, oh, it's going to be yellow for all of them. And then anytime I added a new one, it would automatically apply that to the new ones too. I didn't realize that, so I did it lots of times, but it gave me practice. So, yep. This is where you can also say, hey, I want to number it. So the walking tour kind of thing, you could have them so it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And like you pointed out, not only can we move them from one layer to another, let's say 5 happened to be smack dab in the middle of 1 and 2, we could be like, well, let's move that one down lower so it makes sense on the walking tour that we wouldn't go, 1, 2, 5.
Can you also assign them a day?
Assign them a...
Can you assign them a day? Like the Jefferson one, you could do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, because that's the days that you guys do here. So you assign it a day.
So yeah, that might be a good use of the layers. That you could say, hey, here's...
I just want to play on Tuesday. Tuesday is here.
Oh, like what's available on Tuesday?
What's available on Tuesday?
That's a good idea. Yeah. Yep. And I've tried, just so you know, to put the details in when people click on them so they'll know which days are available.
Right.
Those are only the ones I've actually gone to that I know. But yeah, I've tried to add that into the description part so that people know that detail from there. Okay, so we could use numbers, individual styles, what it's on, and then apparently we can also go by the name or the description. So I'm going to leave that alone because we're on the green map. So I'm just going to click back over there. If we want to edit one, since we're in individual styles, then we get the bucket over here where I can change each thing separately. So yeah, if I wanted to have, maybe again, this is, you're going to have an icon for, we're going to be hitting the zoo as one of the places you could go find, a little zoo icon and put it in there. So these pictures could then match more of what the place is too. Or just keep it color coded.
You see, when he clicks on it, it shows the hours and everything. The one indoor court and then the hours available.
Oh yeah, yay, look at that. Oh, and happen to be here, yay. Cool. And then I cheated because I have that, I've made that site. I was like, hey, why not put the link in there for that? Because then if somebody's there, they can go see the calendar too. Yeah. So, and I just did that when I was preparing for this because I was like, well, duh, that could be a link. So that turned out to be a really happy or useful thing. Okay, so let me see where we are on our list of things we've taken a look at. So we talked about the styles. We've got the individual styles. You can also make it one for everybody on that layer. But it is kind of nice because you get all that detail you can choose. Okay, open data table. All right, I think we had to be on the green one for this too. So open data table. So I thought you would give that reaction. So it's kind of like the same thing I do for the calendar. For me, I often think of like things in like a spreadsheet or boxes where I'm like, okay, I've got my details, I've got my columns, and I can just put all the details in there. And what's really nice is you can change it in either mode. I can change it here and it updates in.
Edit that.
Yep. And if I edit that one, it updates. So it's really one set of text, but I thought that was nice because sometimes it isn't. Like you have to be like, oh shoot, I have to then publish or something, But yeah, it's kind of this really is the same information. If you edit it one place, you get it updated for both. But if you kind of like having it like, hey, I'm going to put how many courts there are, and then the next line I'll talk about the cost. I can have that all organized behind the scenes, and then when anybody clicks on it, they get to see the details. Cool. All right, so yep, we can go to our style. We can edit, so I can change that stuff here. This is where I can add a picture. So that was the one I did for Curtis, where I took a picture and then added it in there.
Okay.
I can say, hey, I want to get directions to this place, then straight from here, or get rid of it, trash it. All right, and let's see. I think we're down to the last one over here. Let's see if I can move over there. What was? Oh, icons. Oh yeah. Actually, I think we already looked at the icons, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, and then they do let you choose, like I said, from all those other icons too. So hundreds of icons.
So this is not used for driving at all. It's just simply like
So it can be.
places.
It can be. So
Because short of that button, it shows live traffic.
well, I'm not in my map. I'm not in Google Maps right now.
Okay.
But
you're in my maps.
but I can say, hey, get directions to here, and now it's added it to the layer that I was on, and I think it wants me to. Oh shoot! I'm on the green one. Dang.
Place to start.
Let me.
It's gotta undo it first.
Let me get rid of that guy. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. Whew. Okay. All right.
Remember, you're on the green map.
Yep. All right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Let me go back.
Yeah, go back to the pink one to do this.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So Jefferson Barns. So I was going to actually show there's this driving here, and what you can. Let me see if is it showing. Oh, right, because I was clicked on one. Let me see. There we go. What I can use these other tools for is I can say, hey, let me add a driving route from this spot to this spot. And then it created its own layer down here. So either if, and the nice part is, I don't know if you guys caught that, but you could, when you add that, you could have it be a biking version or a walking version as well. So if we were planning that Dublin walking tour thingy and we've got our 6 spots, you can actually say, hey, here's the best route to go through. They also have just a straight line feature, which I don't know how useful it is, honestly, to myself, because it's, I mean, that's as the crow flies, but we're not crows. So, so
By the way, if I'm on that walking tour, the only thing that's gonna be doubling is my medical bill.
boom.
Doubling.
Nice. All right. So let me see if we can actually say then, because I thought we had the driving directions. So how do I get it to actually say from where I am? Oh, I guess it needs to know where I am though, right? Let's go preview. So that added it because I was editing the pink one. It actually added it onto the map.
Oh, and it saved it in there.
Yep.
Does it give you turn-by-turn directions?
So that's what I'm looking to see. Like,
It should
so we had looked at having these driving directions, or at least the directions layer, made up on the My Maps, and it has an A and a B starting and possibly ending point. And what we weren't seeing during the time together was how to actually get the directions. And I don't know how I missed it, but if we click on the 3 little dots, then we can get step-by-step directions. And it then does fill in the from point A being the top through step-by-step all the way down through point B. So it does have that functionality, just maybe not the most intuitive to find. But there it is. Okay, so let me go back to our agenda dude. And we've seen, I think, all of these guys. We've seen the icon thingy. Oh, right. Sharing and editor access. Okay, so, right. So we'll take a look at the editor or the view access. Pretty straightforward. The nice part about that, again, is anybody, even with a phone, can then use the map. But do remember that for editing, you can only edit a My Map on a PC or a Mac. All right, so let's go back to the pink one. Boop, 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 boop. And then it's that easy. There's your little share button. And you can say, hey, who do I want to have access to this? Just so you know, I actually built it so I got that link. And then on the pickleball site, I made this picture of the map. And if somebody clicks on the picture, it links to the actual My Map. So if they're like, from their point of view, this is just an actual image, but that image is a link to the real map. So then they can use that to go get directions, which people have done, but I didn't add the drive directions on any of these because I guess it didn't make as much sense because you really want to get there from where you are. All right, and yeah, any thoughts on how you guys might put My Maps to use?
Yeah, pub crawl.
Yeah.
Seriously, what I like that one. My wife and I did a trip to Ireland, and one of the best things we did was there was a musicians pub crawl. So we went to pub A. There were some musicians playing all these instruments, and they would tell us the history of the music and the instruments. That same group of musicians was like that our tour guide. They would take us to the next pub, and I think we hit like 3-4 different places, and each time they had different instruments set up for us, and then they would give us the little history, and I was loving it. That was fantastic. Yeah.
I think it would be helpful for traveling, like you said, when you want to sightsee. Hit certain places.
Awesome. Yeah, I think so too. And when I saw somebody using that as a feature, I'm like, that's pretty clever. And then having your links and things all in one stop, because I have done that lots of trips where I'm on my phone trying to find something, and I'm like, I already had a link for this, but now I got to go find it again. So I was like, well, that's kind of genius. Just put it in your map and poof.
I was kind of thinking, I've never been, but my friends, they go on a golf outing a weekend, and they hit like 7 different courses.
Oh, yeah.
So you could use it like for something like that,
That's what I was thinking.
you know,
too.
where you would know what day, what course you were going on each day.
Yeah, like, my boyfriend's sons are in the high school marching band, and we have months of competitions we go to, so it'd be nice to have them all on one map, and
There you
actually
go.
make him
Yeah.
do it. Create one of these for us.
Oh, that's a great idea. Boy, if I were coaching, I think I would do that again too for parents, because
Right.
if they ever want to travel,
Send it to his parent, like grandparents.
Yeah.
Families that wanna come.
nice. Oh, I really like that one a lot. Yeah, that's good, because then you're providing a good service for people too, so that somebody doesn't go to the wrong place because they're like, oh, I thought that you guys were at this other school named John Glenn, because apparently there's another John Glenn that's not in Westland, somewhere else. Because
Really?
when I would interact with other coaches, they're like, wait, which one are you guys? I'm like, we're the one in
You
Westland.
actually, I think there's a John Glenn in South Bend where I used to live, or around there in Indiana.
Okay,
Well, I mean,
awesome. Well, those are really, really good ideas. Okay. I don't know if we'll be wrapping up and have this be our final training, but I'll make sure we get the video just like the other one did. Do you guys have any thoughts on things you might like? Because I think we've kind of covered all of the biggies from the Google Docs world.
Google
Yeah, is
Sphere.
there anything left in Google Docs?
There's presentations, which is kind of like PowerPoint. So there are more things out there, but I thought I'd pick the ones that you guys would need or want the most. But there are others.
It's all the Apple stuff. Most people have iPhones. You're using an
Oh.
Apple
Some Apple
computer
training.
to show us.
The Google side of things.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
You show us Google on an Apple computer, you could get sued.
All right. Well, yeah. So,
Anyway,
okay. Cool. I know Joanne just emailed me back today saying, hey, I'm out this month, but maybe stop by and touch base with Elizabeth, so I'll let her know that we already handled it. But
She
she's
plans on being back June 3rd,
yeah.
right?
okay. Cool.